Alright, here we go for round one. Looks like my opponent has kept 7, won the die roll, and on the play. This hand is kind of awkward. No mountain. At least I can play my first 2 or 3 cards without needing a red source. So I think we actually are going to keep this on the draw. And it does have Smuggler's Copter. Smuggler's Copter is just an insanely good card. Like, any game where you can have it on turn 2 is quite nice. So let's see if I can take advantage of a turn 2 Copter here now. Let's go ahead and lead on the mountain. I think that's reasonable. Island Go. So he's likely playing a control deck, which could be interesting. Didn't play against a single control deck at the Pro Tour. Ooh, could be playing Spirits as well. Let's see. Okay. Gonna go ahead and start with an attack here. I mean, if he wants to flash in like a Rattle Chains and block, I lose the 2 cards, but I think that's reasonable. It kind of sucks because then I wouldn't have a creature for the Copter. Hoping he doesn't have a negate here, though. I don't really have another creature to crew the Copter anyway. Just think about what land I should play. Probably should just play a Swamp. No particular reason. I have another mountain in my hand. It doesn't really matter that much. You do... Looks like we are control. I was going to say I was worried that he might have a negate. But at the same time, we have this bow mat going. Maybe we can empty our hand and get some value out of it. Looks like he will Reflector Mage it. That's fine. I think I'm probably going to just flow the Mage. I don't really want to start taking too much damage. And if he plays a card like Gideon, I might have a huge problem if he's got too much of a board presence. So let's just play this. I guess it'll just... I'll reveal the mountain, whatever. I think it really matters. If he's got a Gideon here, we could be in trouble. Looks like he doesn't. So here we're going to lead off on Bowmat. If he's got a Spell Queller, he'll likely just let it resolve. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to play our Key to the City. That way, if we attack and he goes for a Spell Queller, we can make a guy unblockable. And presumably, yeah, that's what he's going to do. He's just going to go ahead and counter the key. This can be a tough game on the draw where we negated our Copter. See what he has. If he has Avacyn mana up here, we could be in huge trouble. But I do have a Dark Dwellers. That should be pretty nice on my next turn. Okay, that's really big that he didn't hit a land, because if he hit a land, then he would be representing Avacyn. And we can't really Dark Dwellers flow, but because he only got 4 mana, we're going to play this. If he's got a rebuff or something, that could be a problem, but I don't think many of the decks play that. Flashback Flow, targeting this. And I actually will attack with the Bowmat Courier now, because if he's got a Spell Queller... Ooh, he's going to exile the Flow. Interesting. So how does that work? Does that... Why is it So I guess... Okay, there we go. It's underneath. It wasn't underneath at first, so I was very confused. I was going to say, now if I can kill that Spell Queller, I'll get everything back, which is kind of nice. Yeah, it's pretty hard on the draw to beat the double Spell Queller draw, but we'll see what we can do. I mean, our opponent's at 18. We do have a Dark Dwellers, which is kind of a pretty big threat here. If he's got a Stasis Snare or something, though, we could be in trouble. Let's go ahead and untap. He could also have a Sky Whaler shot, which, since he didn't crack his clue, it's pretty likely he's got one of those, which is kind of unfortunate. So let's go ahead and fire in with the Dark Dwellers. I don't think we want to leave it back to block the Thraben Inspector. Just force him to use something if he has it. I could have also played the PNLR and attack with Bowmat Courier to try to trade with Inspector, but I don't think that it's worth trading my Courier because I have basically no cards in hand. What I want to do is see if I can draw a card or 2 off of it. I'm going to just leave Smuggler's Copter in my hand so that I can block, or sorry, leave the Ether Hub in my hand so I can loot it away potentially. Okay, now he has 5 lands for Avacyn. That could be a problem. He plays his own Copter. That also could be a problem. Everything could be a problem here, basically. If I draw a removal spell, I can kill both Spell Quellers. So I think my goal in life here is going to be draw a removal spell. I have 12 in my deck. And because of that, I think I'm actually going to go ahead and fire in with my Smuggler's Copter, because it's just such a big game if I can draw an Unlicensed Integration, especially because he might have Avacyn next turn. I really want to draw a Fiery Temper or a Incinerate Flow or a Disintegration while my opponent is tapped out. One time, let's get there. Draw a mountain. That's unfortunate. He's going to crew his copter. I'm just going to let him block with it. Well, do I? Actually, maybe this is the moment where I sack my courier. Because I have 2 lands in hand, so every loot is essentially just an extra card draw. So I think I will sacrifice this. Because not only does this stop him from blocking. Oh, did I? Whoa, crap. Did I just target itself? I think I might have. Doesn't say can't block on it. Yeah. Alright, well, I just lose, I guess. That's kind of unfortunate. I guess I misclicked. This is the first time I've played this deck on Moto, so that's something that we have to deal with, I suppose. Quite unfortunate, because didn't necessarily just lose. He's discarding an Avacyn, okay. I didn't necessarily just lose, but I'm probably not going to be in good shape now. Let's see what we can get here. And there's a Gideon, okay. He might just emblem. Alright, because now, I mean, actually, the line that he just took, I feel as if I can potentially win, because if I draw, really wish I had that copter in play. If I draw Unlicensed Integration, I can get my key back. Well, if I draw an Unlicensed Integration, I can get my flow back and kill the Inspector, and still have both of these in play, but I don't really want to take 8. So I think I should trade. It makes drawing Unlicensed Integration worse, but still gives me some redraws, because I'll get my key back. Okay, I do draw it. So I guess maybe it was better not to block. I don't know. The key is pretty reasonable here, because it'll allow me to draw 2 cards next turn and potentially kill all of his threats. It's going to be kind of hard to do that when he's got 3 spells in his hand and a 3/4 flyer in play, but we'll see what happens. Now that I do that Disintegration, I wonder what whatever. I really wish that I had not misclicked. That's kind of unfortunate, because he's got an Avacyn now. If he's smart, he'll do it on his up. Well, I guess I can still, on my turn, kill the Avacyn if I draw Unlicensed Integration. Yeah, it looks like he's going to upkeep it, which is fine. It might mean he's got another in his hand, or like a negate or something, and that means we're pretty much drawing dead if he's got one of those. Draw. Okay, that's game. Unfortunate game. We made a little misclick. It happens. Don't let it bother you too much. Let's see what we can do about the next games. I think I definitely want Goblin Dark Dwellers. The question is, do I want Weaver of Lightning or Kaladesh? It's pretty interesting. I think I probably want Kaladesh. I think that, like, the way the games go, they do have Reflector Mage, but I think I'm going to have to kind of not. Well, I guess I can just burn. I can just play as a burn deck. This is actually pretty tough. I've not played against this deck before. They do have negates and stuff to counter your reach. They have Gideons and stuff, so you want to be kind of aggressive. I don't mind the cruisers, actually. I think that if I'm not boarding in the bombardments, I shouldn't board in the Kaladesh. They don't really work that well. The Kaladesh doesn't really work that well without the bombardments. The question is, do I want Weaver of Lightning? I mean, the ability to kind of pick off a Selfless Spirit or a Rattle Chain is pretty nice, and it does block like Copter and all the flyers. So I think I likely do want Weaver. I think I'm going to cut Bomat Courier, because they do have Thraben Inspector. Any deck that has Thraben Inspector, like pretty much any deck, you're boarding out Bomat Courier, but especially when they have Thraben Inspector, I think I'm going to board out all 4. I'm not sure how good Key to the City is against him. Like, he doesn't have that many creatures that block that well, other than Avacyn. The matchup is pretty fast. Question is, I might want an extra land. Yeah, let's do that. Let's cut both keys, add an extra land, add a Kaladesh. I kind of like that. I don't really love Key when I'm on the Dark Dweller plan. And I don't think the game is going to last that long where it's going to be that relevant. So let's run this. My deck looks kind of wonky right now, so we'll see how this goes. Wow, this hand is not very good. We don't have an artifact. We don't have any lands. Let's go ahead and mulligan, see if we can do better. This hand is basically the same, but we do have a permanent black source, and we do have a third land, so let's go ahead and keep this one. Hopefully we can find a Smuggler's Copter or a Scrounger. That's part of the problem with Apprentice, is it's much worse in the games where you side out Bomat and Key of the City, but that's just kind of part of the sideboard plan. And against a lot of the matchups now, I actually board out all 8 of the 1-drops because they're just incredibly unimpressive. Okay, always play the Ether Hub first because you can draw Foreboding Ruins, but it's a pretty good draw there because I can beat in. I have the Dark Dwellers too, so if I flood out this game, I have something to do with my mana, which is nice. No attacks. So I'm not entirely sure what that means. Means he could have a Rattle Chains and is trying to double block the Inventor's Apprentice, which seems rather risky. So I'm going to play out my land so that he can't really do that without potentially getting blown out. Or he might just be trying to chump. I don't exactly know. I think it's a Rattle Chains. Yeah, and he's going to double block the Apprentice. Doesn't really seem that bad for me, honestly. He could actually make a pretty cheeky play and just trade with the Scrounger with the Rattle Chains. No, he's going to double block. Okay. It's fine with me. Now that means I do have a creature in my graveyard for the Scrounger. If that goes to the graveyard. If he's got a Stasis Snare here, I get pretty blown out, which is part of the problem with siding out Bomat as well. But I did bring in Weavers and Goblin Dark Dwellers, so it's not like I have that few cards. Interesting draw. So he is repping Stasis Snare here. I think I just attack with the Scrounger. I don't really want to animate the Copter and get that snared. Actually, that might be good too, but I think this is fine. I'm not going to play anything either. Well, maybe I should have attacked with the Copter. Force him to use his mana. Because now, like, if I flow him and he Spell Quellers it, it's pretty awkward. But I think, yeah, we just play Land Pass. It cuts off the ability to play Dark Dwellers next turn. And there's actually a real possibility that I was supposed to not play my land. It doesn't really matter that much at this point. But yeah, he does have a Spell Queller, so now I do have a target for the Incendiary Flow. He's leaving the Spell Queller back. It kind of surprises me. I don't think he would do that if he had another Spell Queller, so let's go ahead and just try to flow it. This matchup might be really bad, actually. This does not feel like anything I'm doing seems that powerful. So now I have the option of just firing in or animating the Copter. If I animate the Copter and he like Stasis Snares it, I suppose that's fine. Pretty close call here. The loot doesn't really do that much because if I draw, like, I want the 5th land anyway. So yeah, let's just go ahead and attack with the Scrounger. He didn't try to kill it last turn, so I think he'll likely, he doesn't want to get too low though. I think if he's got a Stasis Snare, he's definitely going to Stasis Snare it. But I think moving forward, we're going kind of control-y. So either he's going to do the same thing as last turn, which is take 3, which I like, or he Stasis Snares it. Both of those scenarios are pretty good for me, I think. Because it puts me in a pretty not dominating position, but reasonable position next turn. If he goes land, just pass with 5 mana up. Okay, he's going to play an Inspector. A Selfless Spirit. Alright, well now we just get to go Dark Dwellers, Flow Rider, your Spirits. It's possible Dark Dwellers isn't right in this matchup because they do get to they do just get to kind of counteract it a little bit with having 4 Avacyn in their deck. He's going to sack that in response. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and make this a creature and attack. And I don't think there's anything that can have for 2 mana that prevents me from looting here. So I'll get to essentially draw a card. Opponent's at 9 with 3 cards in hand, and we have a huge board. So we're doing pretty good. If he goes to 6, then we can definitely burn him out potentially. There's a Fleet Wheel Cruiser. It's very weird seeing cards like Cruiser and Bomat Courier in my hand because I sided them out in almost every single matchup at the Pro Tour. He's got a Blessed Alliance, which is fine. I mean, it doesn't seem like a great result, but now he can't gain 4 off that. So we end up a bit ahead in that exchange because we got to loot away a land as well. I wonder if he's playing Gearhulk, if he's playing Blessed Alliance too. It's possible Joey Manor's deck played that card as well. I'm going to go ahead and just bash with my team here. Well, actually, do I bash with the Scrounger? It just comes back next turn. He can double block it. Okay, he just scoops. All right, well, seemed pretty powerful to have the Dark Dwellers, even though I said it doesn't seem good against Avacyn. It is just still a 2-for-1 and a threat that's pretty hard to deal with. Interestingly enough, I wonder if I do want Bombardment. It's just so weak against like Spell Queller, I think. Like, it doesn't kill everything for sure. It's possible I could play Transgress the Mind on the draw, too. Like, I do have the extra black source in my deck, and I do have having the ability to Transgress to like, get the Spell Queller out of the hand or get the Avacyn out of the hand seems pretty good. Though I am kind of playing a burn deck still, which makes it kind of funny. But it does have synergy with Dark Dwellers. It lets me more proactively transgress, because Flow did not seem very good. Like, a sorcery speed removal spell is just so awkward against Avacyn and Spell Queller that I kind of like the idea of maybe playing 2 transgresses instead. And this is another reason that I like playing like 2 transgress and not 4. There are a lot of matchups where I actually kind of like the idea of having 1 or 2 transgress. It's possible I don't want Inventor's Apprentice at all. This is something that I do sometimes where, like, I board out the Inventor's Apprentices. Like, I boarded out 6 artifacts, so I'm definitely low on the artifact count. He does have Rattle Chains. Yeah, Flow is really bad against Rattle Chains, too. Maybe I want to cut all the Flows, actually, and play Bombardments instead, just to kill Selfless Spirit more efficiently. And it does work with, at that point, maybe I want a Kaladesh. Another Kaladesh on the draw instead of Cruiser. Cruisers are usually worse on the draw. It's especially bad if he's going to have, like, Negate in his deck still. And he did show me Blessed Alliance, which is another card that's pretty good against Cruiser. So maybe I board out both the Cruisers. And now we're going into, like, the all-control game plan, basically. I don't know, though. I don't normally board out all these Flows. Maybe I'll, like, board out 1 more Inventor's Apprentice. They're pretty bad in this configuration of the deck with only 12 artifacts for a Flow, just to give myself some more removal. Let's try it. It's interesting to note that Flow does not work that well with Kaladesh. So there are some games where when I'm boarding Kaladesh, I board in 1 or 2. I board out 1 or 2 Flows just for other removal. All right, looks good, but that's because it's 7 spells. Let's mulligan. This hand is slow, but I think on the draw it's a keep. Weaver is probably going to be pretty good against lots of his draws. Hope he doesn't have a super strong Copter into Spell Queller draw. That could be pretty hard for me to deal with. Though I do have the option of transgressing him. Let's see if I draw a land. Since I drew a land, I think I'm going to play Scrounger instead of transgress, just because I can unlicense Disintegration, whatever he plays, and make him take 3, and I can win the race pretty easily with 2 Disintegrations. Thraben into Copter on the draw, that's just pretty... I mean, I guess Copter is just so insanely good, but the thing about the Blue-White Flash deck is when it doesn't have the Thraben Inspector, the Copter is really weird because it forces you to play at sorcery speed a bit. Okay, this actually works out pretty well. It looks like my opponent is holding up Spell Queller. So we are just going to bash and pass. I'm going to crack Clue. Okay. Whoa! I could have killed the Inspector there, actually. I didn't think that was... I probably should have killed the Inspector there. Wow, that was a bit of a misplay. I did not entirely think through that turn. Because now he's... Well, I guess if he main phases Spell Queller... Yeah, this is quite bad. This is quite foolish. Because this also gives him the opportunity to Stasis Snare my Scrounger. Oh, wow, that hurts. That hurts. It's okay. Because say I kill the Inspector, he's forced to main phase something to make the Smelter's Copter go. And the problem is, if I disintegrate now, I don't actually believe can't kill the Spell Queller. But I think this is still going pretty well for me, except for the fact that I have this stupid Transgress in my hand, which I can't really effectively use. I could Fiery Temper the Spell Queller instead of Disintegration, which is much better against Avacyn. But next turn, he's probably going to have to main phase something to use his Copter. He's looted away 2 lands. Yeah. So if he holds up 5 Avacyn mana next turn, am I screwed? What do I do? Yeah, maybe I do just Fiery Temper the Spell Queller. Save the unlicensed integration for a bigger fish. Though I find it very unlikely that he'll hold up Avacyn mana, because it just seems so bad against another unlicensed. It seems very bad against another unlicensed disintegration. But if I've casted 2 already, he's more likely to do it. If I just Fiery Temper it, like... I do put him to 8 by disintegrating, which is pretty big game. Fiery Temper does go upstairs after the fact. Let's think. He untaps, he passes, plays Avacyn. It just wrecks me. So yeah, let's... Oh, this seems so wrong, but let's Fiery Temper. I am sideboarded to be the control deck here. Not that that's really relevant in this instance. If I put him to 8 life, he's got no board. What else could he do? He's got 4 mana. He could, like, Reflector Mage me. Animate the Smuggler's Copter. Then, yeah, I'm going to disintegrate. I think putting a ton of pressure on him is the best play. Even though it's kind of bad against an Avacyn, I think it's better against pretty much everything else. And the Fiery Temper I can still utilize to the face, or if I draw a Copter, which are both good. And I do have the Weaver, so if I can resolve the Weaver down the line, I might be able to beat an Avacyn. I just find it, at 8 life, I just find it very unlikely that his play is going to be just land pass. It's a Copter. Okay, well now I don't feel too great about this Transgress. Huh. Well, if he had an Avacyn, he definitely would do that instead of playing the Copter. Let's just Transgress and see what's up. I think I can, even though it's mana inefficient, I think it's fine. If he's got a Spell Queller, he's going to be forced to use it. If he's got a Stasis Snare, he's going to be forced to use it. He's got a Spell Queller. Okay. Well, I will trade for that if he wants to. Do I trade for that, actually? I have so much removal in my hand. Yeah, well, I do, because he might actually trade with a Copter. In which case he loots and I get to Transgress. Well, he probably will trade with a Copter, which is not great for me. Maybe I should have played the Weaver, though I guess he would have just Spell Quellered it. Yeah, these bombardments are pretty bad. Though I don't know if, like, I feel as if Inventor's Apprentice or whatever would not have been better. Oh, he's looted away a lot of lands. Which, I mean, it's never a bad thing for me, but... Next turn I can play Weaver and I can bombardment the Queller. Though if he's just got Avacyn up, like if he just goes attack with Copter, it's going to be tough going for me. Yeah, I don't really like my spot this game very much. Especially if he responds to the Weaver with... He might be flooded, though he's discarded 4 lands. He might respond to the Weaver with the Avacyn, which would be very smart. He definitely has it. I'm just dead in the air if I don't play the Weaver, so let's play the Weaver. He should definitely play the Avacyn now if he has it. He doesn't. That's potentially good for me. Okay, so in response, we need to kill this. We do get to transgress him, which is nice. Even if it misses, we'll get to see what's in his hand. An Avacyn and a Blessed Alliance. Okay. Cleared one Avacyn out of the way. Could maybe win with this Kaladesh. Oh, that is exactly... Well, not exactly, but... Oh, he didn't attack with a Copter? I think he was just... He just missed it. He must have just missed it. Now we're drawing to, like... Almost dead. That's unfortunate. I suppose I'm dead. That sucks. Like a removal spell would have been fine, but the fact that it was a creature plus a removal spell put me out of this game. But yeah, this is the situation where if I would have Fiery Tempered the guy instead, which I thought I probably should have done. Though I don't know if he would have Avacyn that turn into open mana. He probably would have because he had 2. Kaladesh is possibly... it feels better than Cruiser, especially on the draw. Let's see how he plays this, though. I guess, like, if he doesn't play a creature, we can live a turn, potentially. If he doesn't attack with everything. I can't play the Kaladesh because if I do, then he just attacks with both the air creatures. The problem is the Copter is going to flip, right? So I am dead on board. That's what I thought. Yeah. I can kill the Copter, but the Avacyn flips. My upkeep. So I'm not sure if I sideboarded that correctly, but I think it was okay.